Good hello, this is Gavin, and I want to talk about integrity. I was once asked at a job interview how I would define integrity. My answer then was pretty simple. It was about bringing back the shopping cart after loading your groceries into your car. In most places, there is no criminal prosecution, no implications or consequences, and no social or psychological pressure to do the right thing. Integrity is when you still choose to bring the cart back. Now, as I'm working on some of the NPCs' personalities and backstories for my game Calls of Chaos, I am faced with the same question. However, I feel like I need to define the interpretation of it a little bit better. Let me explain. But first, intro time. So I made a thing. This is my thing. Look at my thing. Nowadays, I would define integrity a little differently. As I was pondering to figure out how I would like to define it for myself, I chose to make it a dependency on various ethical perspectives. Mainly, the different perspectives of utilitarianism, virtue ethics, deontological formalism, and rational egoism, which all fits perfectly into a chaos star. What a coincidence! So this is the thing, the theogram of ethics. Whatever. Let's analyze. Rational egoism. In rational egoism, as defined by Ayn Rand, you question what the most appropriate decision is for you. You do not inherently exist to serve others and forgo your own goals and happiness. You don't have to sacrifice your values and your self-worth to satisfy a social expectation. So you make the most rationally appropriate decision to do what is right for yourself and your personal morals. In the cross-section is the self-inclusive group. If you make a decision based on a self-inclusive group scenario, you would make sure that your person is included on the benefiting side. You'll lean as far as possible out the window, but you won't sacrifice yourself for the group. Utilitarianism. Here, the choice is to aim for the best possible outcome for the group. What is the least possible negative impact for the group, and how can the general well-being of the many be established? This is now a self-exclusive choice, meaning that in order to achieve the best possible outcome for the group, there's no limit on self-sacrifice. In this perspective, the ends justify the means. Now in a technical group, the choice is still to benefit the group. However, you won't fully ignore laws and regulations in order to fully benefit the group. You will find a middle way, because it's in the middle of the two others. You get it. Which brings us to deontological formalism. No ice, unfiltered, takes away the empathy for the social environment and asks a question of what your moral duty is. What are your orders? What are the laws, rules, and regulations that dictate what your decision should be? What does your employer expect from you? Both the rights of the few and the well-being of the many play only a minor, if any part at all, in this decision. Your boss will likely want you to do this, nothing but this, no undissing allowed. Technical individual choices benefit individuals while still staying within the reasonable standards of rules and regulations. Criminal defense lawyers often rely on this cross-section to justify defending criminals. They proclaim that it is their moral duty to ensure individual rights are sustained, even if the defendant was clearly in violation of established laws. This is because constitutional protections, as well as codified and common laws, have to apply to everybody equally and individually, no matter what the crime. So next up, virtue ethics. Virtue ethics looks for the rights of the few. The decision is one that neglects all other aspects and allows for self-sacrifice in favor of another individual. This is the stance that says that ends don't justify the means, and you shouldn't ever sacrifice the well-being of the individual's right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness for the benefit of the group. In contrast, you may come across a self-inclusive decision which benefits a specific individual. In this cross-section, the decision would include yourself as a beneficiary next to another individual and no major personal sacrifice for that specific other person. Integrity, in view of those ethical perspectives, is the action itself. Once you have decided by honestly evaluating what ethical reasoning is the most appropriate for the given situation, integrity is defined by whether you can ignore all other ethics as well as any personal desires or grudges and let your actions reflect what you believe is truly the most appropriate approach. Individual rights against the benefits of the group, your personal rationalization against your formal duty. Remove all bias and make an integracious decision. Integrous. Do the right thing. I choose to accept this as my personal interpretation of integrity, which I intend to use to define the choices that the characters in my game make, and I thought I would share it with all of you. Because reasons. Cool. Now go back to watching cat videos. Thank you for watching. If you like it, leave a like. If you want to see more in the future, subscribe. Follow the development of Calls of Chaos on Patreon. Most posts and updates are free. Just scroll down to them. Just past the subscription part and scroll all the way down.